All right. Safid, it's like Groundhog Day. You watch that Bill Murray movie. It just, it's kind of what, 21 nothing down. It was nice that you made the comeback, but then that last drive, you explain how you're gouging them with all those runs, and then you just leave it and you go with these passes. And oh my God, that was unexplainable, my brother, man. Unexplainable.
Yeah, man. The first half, the Vikings showed up, not the Dolphins. That's for sure. They disappointed. They laid an egg here in Germany. You can praise the comeback all you want, but they shouldn't have been in position to come back in the first place. Sure, Patrick Mahomes is going to score on his first drive of the game. The Chiefs have done that. He's been 5-0 in games, now 6-0 every game they've done that this year. This is the best game the defense played. All those guys were engaged. Bradley Chubb was engaged. Wilkins had an early sack. Phillips was getting after it. David Long played well. X and Ramsey gave you something as well as Holland a little bit. The defense did not give up a point at all in the second half.
They played to win. They only gave up 14 of the 21.
They gave up 14, and that was what, second quarter, end of the second quarter. That's it. They kept them scoreless in the second half. Nobody scored in the fourth quarter at all. And when you look at this Dolphins offense, they just moved backwards just as much as they moved forward in that fourth quarter. You could look at the last play of the game with the botched snap. You could look at the 3rd and 10 with Cedric Wilson, miscommunication there actually, and that's a route that you want Waddle or Hill to run with an option. And Mike McDaniel said that Wilson did not have the right call from Tua on that play. You look at the drive before that; they had a sack of 11 yards. Then there was like a 3rd and 27. The Dolphins were moving backwards just as much as they were moving forward in that fourth quarter, and that's just not how you win here. Robert Jones went down, and that definitely hurt them from a continuity standpoint on the line. And
although Eichenberg had some blocks, dude, go watch it. Those runs by Mostert there, Eichenberg had 2 of the key blocks in those 2 big ass runs that he had. He actually played well. There was no drop off at that moment. So
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they went away from the run at all. I understand why they went 2 straight plays with it.
But I want to defend them because we have killed the man, and all he did was got better at center in backing this guy up, and now you just threw him there at guard, and he actually did a really good job overall. So as much as we kill somebody, let's be fair with these human beings. That dude played well when he stepped in. So props to him. I got to give him some love. That's all.
Sure, yeah, sure. But, when you look at the big picture of all this, Dolphins lost to another big-time team, for sure. This was the real litmus test for them. The Eagles did not win the Super Bowl. The Bills have not won the Super Bowl. This was it. They had a chance, a fighting chance in the fourth quarter there. For them to score 14 unanswered in the third quarter was a huge response. And thanks to the defense, Bradley Chubb had a sack. Zach Sealer had a huge recovery there. There was another, big-time stop that got him the ball there as well. In that fourth quarter, they just couldn't take advantage of it, man. And this is what happens with the Dolphins offense here. They've got too many players kind of moving in and out right now. All the things that you were kind of hoping on and banking on that the offense was doing together, since April, since May during offseason OTAs, it's hurt when you have a new guy like Chase Claypool getting into the mix, or Cedric Wilson playing a lot more snaps, or a new right guard or left guard joining the offense in the middle of the game when you're in Germany, across the pond here for this game. It's hard for the new players jumping in to pick up on the continuity. Everybody else kind of suffers from it at the end of the day. Tyreek Hill had, the one drop early in the second half. He was pulled or had hands to the face. They missed that call, but could have made a play there. There was a big-time third down play where Tyreek didn't make the play and had the ball go right through his hands as well. Wanted to see a little bit more from Waddle. Most of them took the call, too.
The Tyreek fumble was 7 points, dude. Listen, how are you going to be elite if Tyreek did not play elite?
Yeah, for sure.
Way too many mistakes. He made bone-crushing mistakes in this game. Like this guy just sent in a super chat says, "Oh, Tua has to be perfect." No, dude. Tua threw a perfect bomb to Tyreek. He should have caught that shit.
Definitely.
Where does that drive end? We don't know. And then Tyreek has a fumble that turns into 7 points. Just by himself, he lost this game. If I
Yeah.
really, even though I'm blaming more than anyone on this team, I'm blaming it on Mike McDaniel because I'm tired of his team not prepared, still can't get plays in on time, still making pre-snap penalties. Players are making too many mistakes in these kind of games. Bro, it's all fun and games and all that, but your team has to be more disciplined than this. And that's been, and let me tell you, it's your offense that needs to be more disciplined.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You're a little bit muffled on my end, Big O. But I heard what most of what you said there. But you're right. It is Mike McDaniel's kind of job to make this all happen for them. He had some really kind of telling quotes, quote unquote. My first and foremost takeaway from the game is the multitude of things that I can do better. So already you have Mike McDaniel kind of assuming fault here and saying this one's going to be a hard game for them to digest on the flight home. They left on Monday night. They got there all week. The jet lag didn't seem to be on the Chiefs' end. It seemed a little bit more on their end. Although the Chiefs probably were a little bit more jet lagged in the second half than they were in the first half in this one. They had all week to figure this out, man. They had all week to kind of figure out the lineup combinations, this and that. Waddle leaves the game early on, and it kind of disrupts them a little bit. Rob Jones leaves the game in the third quarter, fourth quarter, disrupts them a little bit. You have that bad miscommunication with Wilson, and then the bad snap comes at the worst time in the line with a minute left, 4th and 10, game on the line. You're thinking the drive before that too. They had a chance as well, and Tua got sacked for 11-yard loss there. The Dolphins had their chances. They just couldn't come through. And now they have that narrative. The narrative is holds true now. The Dolphins are a pretender. They're not a contender right now. They're a pretender. They can play close enough with the big teams, but they don't blow them out like they do the small teams. And that's just who this team is. They can beat up on teams worse than them, but when they when they have to face the top teams in the NFL, they don't show up.
Yeah, Tua, McDaniel, and the team are going to all have to now carry this burden. That's just the way it is. It's going to be that label for all of them until you get over that hump. You're like that's been my theme for weeks now. You're good, but can you show me you can be great? Sure, you're 6-3, and I think McDaniel also has to stop lying to his team and lying to himself, like he did this week. That the game doesn't matter. That if you win, you're going to the Super Bowl. And if you don't, you can't beat an elite team. In the end, you got to play yada yada more games and all that bull crap, dude. This game meant a lot. It meant everything. It was your measuring stick. And it just continues to show consistently that you don't belong in the elite company. That's what it consistently shows.
Yeah, I think Mike's comments are more from media standpoint, but there's no stopping the storm that it is, And after the game, he kind of said, he acknowledged the narrative. We knew coming in, if we win this game, we're going to Super Bowl. If we lose this game, we're not. And acknowledge it's still going to be hanging over their heads. Not only on the flight home, they have a whole bye next week too. It's going to be 2 weeks before we see this team on the field again. And everybody knows what the noise is about Miami now. They're 6-3. You look like the Vikings of the NFC last year. You can beat up on these bad teams, have a great record, get into the playoffs, but you have any kind of adversity in any kind of game, whether it's, Waddle going down with an injury or you lose a lineman, you kind of lose hope on offense, especially when the defense has finally figured it out together. The tide turned on this team, Big O. The tide has completely turned on this team for the first 7 or 8 weeks. Well, really up until the Eagles game, it was only offense and you were worried about the defense. Now it's back to how it always been the last couple of years. You're depending on your defense and you're worried about the offense. And when you have an offensive genius like Mike McDaniel, you want the results to come through, and it did not come through for them in the biggest way on a international stage, where with all eyes on them. It always feels like every time there's a big-time game with all eyes on them, they don't show up, and it happened again.
Follow him on Twitter at Safid_Deen. Catch his work there at the USA Today. Safid, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Tuesday.
Appreciate it, Big O. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Baptist Health is the official sports medicine provider for the Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, InterMiamiCF, FIU, FAU, Orange Bowl, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Miami Open Tennis, Miami Marathon, half marathons, and the Alzugaray family, baby, because we go to Baptist Health all the time, and they're always there to help us. and use that QR code right there to reach out to the folks at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.